CO fired him for sleeping at work. She didn't know he'd fought hackers for 48 hours. Wake him up. The voice cut clean through the operations room. No one moved. The monitors kept flickering, graphs rising, falling, blinking amber, but every engineer within earshot suddenly found something very important to stare at on their screens. I said wake him up. Still no one moved, because they all knew who it was. And they all knew who she was. Aisha Rahman didn't repeat herself a third time. She stepped forward. Her heels clicked sharply against the polished floor, each step deliberate, controlled, the kind of sound that made people sit straighter without being told. Nucio. Day 1. No warnings. No softness. Just results. She stopped at the central console. And there he was. Head down. Sleep. Right in the middle of the command desk. A half-empty energy drink tipped sideways near his elbow. 3 screens filled with scrolling logs. A blinking alert window quietly pulsing in the corner. But she didn't look at the screens. She only saw the man. Asleep, she said flat. At the core desk. A few engineers shifted uncomfortably. Someone whispered, barely audible, "Ma'am, he's been..." Aisha raised a hand. Silence. What's his name? No one answered. Not immediately. Finally, a junior engineer swallowed. Saad. Saad Khan. Aisha nodded once as if filing away a minor detail. Then, without hesitation, Saad. Nothing. She leaned forward slightly. Saad. Get up. He jolted awake. Sharp inhale. Disoriented eyes. His hand instinctively moved toward the keyboard like muscle memory hadn't caught up with reality yet. What? He blinked. Focused. Saw her. And in that half-second, something shifted in his expression. Not fear. Not exactly. Urgency. Wait, he said, voice rough. Don't. This is your workstation? Aisha cut in. Yes, but listen, and you're asleep on duty? It's not what it looks like. It looks exactly like what it is. A few people lowered their eyes. Saad pushed himself upright, running a hand through his hair. His movements were slow, heavy, like his body wasn't fully cooperating. I've been here for... I don't need excuses. Her tone didn't rise. It didn't need to. This desk controls real-time logistics routing for over 2,000 shipments a day, she continued. Medical supplies. Perishables. High-value cargo. And you're sleeping. I wasn't. You were. Silence again. Saad exhaled, steadying himself. Just give me 60 seconds, he said, more focused now. There's something happening in the routing layer. If someone resets the queue, I'm not interested in hypotheticals. It's not hypothetical. It is to me. He stared at her. Not angry. Not pleading. Just trying to get through. Please, he said quietly. Just look at that screen. He pointed. Top right monitor. A small cluster of alerts. Nothing loud, nothing dramatic. Easy to ignore if you didn't know what you were looking at. Aisha didn't turn. Security, she said. 2 guards near the door straightened. Collect his access badge. The room froze. Ma'am, someone tried again, softer this time. He's been handling what? She snapped, finally looking around. Sleeping? No one answered. Because the truth required courage. And courage in that moment was expensive. Saad let his hand fall back to his side. He looked at the screen once more. Then at her. If the system restarts, he said, calm but firm, you're going to have a problem you can't reverse. Aisha didn't even blink. You're done here. The guard stepped forward. Saad unclipped his badge slowly. No arguments. No scene. Just quiet. He placed it in the guard's hand. Then he turned, just slightly, toward a guy standing 2 desks away. Young. Nervous. Watching everything. Bilal, Saad said. The guy stiffened. Yeah. Don't restart anything. Bilal frowned. What? Whatever happens, Saad said, meeting his eyes, don't reset the queue. Pause. Okay, Bilal said, unsure. Someone behind him muttered. He's just salty, ignore it. Saad didn't respond. He picked up his worn-out backpack. Zipped it halfway. Stopped. Looked back at the screens one last time. Something flickered there, something only he seemed to understand. Then he walked out. No one stopped him. The door closed with a soft click. And just like that, the room exhaled. Aisha turned to the operations manager. Status. Everything's stable, the man said quickly. Minor latency but nothing serious. She nodded. Good. Let's keep it that way. Behind them, the small alert on the top right screen blinked again. Unnoticed, Bilal stared at it for a second longer than the others. then looked away. Probably nothing, he muttered. And somewhere deep in the system, something quietly kept counting. Waiting. The system didn't crash. That was the problem. At 9:12 a.m., everything looked fine. Graphs moved. Routes updated. Shipments flowed across the dashboard in neat, orderly lines. And yet, something felt off. Bilal leaned closer to his screen. Why is that route repeating? No one answered. Because no one else had noticed. He clicked into the log stream. A cluster of routing IDs kept reappearing, slightly altered, slightly delayed, but following a pattern that didn't belong. He frowned. Hey, Tariq. The senior engineer didn't look up. Yeah. Have you ever seen a route loop like this without triggering a conflict flag? Nope, Tariq said casually. Probably just a delay in sync. Bilal hesitated. It's not delayed, he said slowly. It's copying itself. That got a glance. Copying? Yeah, look. Tariq rolled his chair over, squinting at the screen. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then, that was it. Just, no alarm. No urgency. Because it didn't look dangerous. It looked strange. And strange things in systems like this happen all the time. At 9:27 a.m., the first shipment went missing. Not physically. Digitally. A high-priority medical shipment, temperature-controlled insulin, vanished from the tracking system. 1 second it existed. Next second, nothing. No error. No alert. Just gone. Where did it go? A logistics coordinator spun around in her chair. What do you mean gone? I mean it's not here anymore. That's not possible. Come look. 3 people crowded around the screen. Search it again. I did. Try the archive. It's not in the archive. Then it's delayed. It's not delayed, it's erased. That word landed differently. Erased. Tariq stood up. Okay, everyone just relax, he said, raising his hands slightly. Let's not jump to conclusions. It's a medical shipment, the coordinator snapped. We can't just relax. Systems glitch, he said. We'll recover it. Bilal's voice came quieter. This started after he left. No one responded. But everyone heard it. At 9:41 a.m., the latency increased. Not dramatically. Just enough. Transactions that took milliseconds now took seconds. Then a few seconds more. Aisha stood at the glass wall overlooking the operations floor, arms crossed. What's causing the delay? The operations manager cleared his throat. Minor queue congestion. Happens sometimes. And the missing shipment? We're looking into it. She turned. How long does looking into it take? We'll have an answer soon. That's not an answer. Her gaze sharpened. Fix it. Back on the floor. Okay, I can't trace this, Bilal muttered. What do you mean you can't trace it? Tariq asked. I mean it doesn't exist in the logs anymore. That's impossible. I know it's impossible. That's why I'm saying it. Another engineer joined in. Hey, I've got another one. Another what? Missing shipment. Silence. Then someone else, make that too. The room started shifting. Subtle at first. People sat straighter. Voices dropped. Movements became faster. Bilal pulled up the deeper logs, the ones most engineers didn't touch unless something was seriously wrong. His fingers hovered over the keyboard. Then he clicked. The screen filled with raw data. Unfiltered. Ugly. And there it was. A pattern. Not random. Not broken. Intentional. No, he whispered. Tariq leaned over. What? Bilal pointed. These aren't errors. What are they? They're reroutes. To where? That's the problem. Bilal zoomed in. The destination fields were blank. Not null. Not corrupted. Just redirected. At 10:03 a.m., a refrigerated shipment of vaccines appeared in the system, in 2 places at once. Same ID. Same timestamp. Different routes. Okay, that's not a glitch, Tariq said quietly. No, Bilal replied. It's not. Across the room, phones started ringing. One. Then another. Then 5 at once. Logistics, how can I? What do you mean my shipment disappeared? Sir, I've got a driver waiting at a warehouse with no instructions. Ma'am, please, this is perishable stock. Do you understand that? The noise rose. Sure. Chaotic. Controlled panic. Aisha stepped onto the floor. What's happening? No one answered immediately. Because no one had a clean answer. Finally, Tariq spoke. We're seeing inconsistencies in routing. Inconsistencies? she repeated. Define that. Shipments are duplicating. Some are disappearing. Latency is increasing. And the cause? We're investigating. Her jaw tightened. How long until it's fixed? Pause. Then, we don't know yet. That answer did not land well. Bilal stood up suddenly. I think I know what this is. Every head turned. What? He swallowed. It's not a glitch. Then what is it? It's interference. Interference. Tarek echoed. Yeah. Like, something inside the system is redirecting traffic. Internal bug? No, Bilal shook his head slowly. External. Silence. Aisha stepped closer. Are you suggesting we've been compromised? Bilal hesitated, then nodded. I think someone's inside the routing layer. The room changed, completely. That's not possible, someone said immediately. Our firewall isn't designed for this, Bilal cut in. This isn't brute force. It's quiet. How quiet? Quiet enough that it looks like us. Tarek ran a hand over his face. Okay, let's not panic. We isolate the affected nodes, we reroute traffic, No, Bilal's voice was firm now. Stronger than before. That won't work. Why not? Because we don't know where it starts. Pause. Then, Saad did. The name hung in the air. Heavy. Uncomfortable. Tarek looked away. That's not helpful right now. It is, Bilal said. He saw something. He was asleep at his desk. No, Bilal said quietly. He wasn't. At 10:21 a.m., the first major client called. Not angry. Worried. We're seeing duplicate invoices on our end, the voice said through the speakerphone. Is there an issue? The room went still. Because duplicate invoices didn't just mean confusion. They meant money. Real money. Aisha took the call herself. We're experiencing a minor technical delay, she said, voice calm and precise. Our team is resolving it. How soon? Shortly. That's not very specific. It will be handled. Pause. Then, it needs to be. The line went dead. Aisha lowered the phone slowly. Fix it, she said again. But this time, it didn't sound like control. It sounded like pressure. Bilal sat back down. His eyes moved across the screen faster now. Scanning. Searching. Remembering. Don't restart anything. Saad's voice echoed in his head. Why would he say that? Bilal muttered. What? Tarek asked. He told me not to reset the queue. Tarek frowned. That's standard procedure for congestion. I know. Then why would he say not to? Bilal didn't answer immediately. Because the thought forming in his head was not comforting. Unless the congestion isn't the problem. At 10:34 a.m., the system did something new. It corrected itself. Briefly. Cleanly. Like nothing had ever been wrong. The room exhaled. See, someone said. It's stabilizing. Yeah, maybe it was just. Then, it got worse. Latency spiked. Routes scrambled. 5 shipments disappeared at once. 2 reappeared in the wrong regions. 1 high-value cargo rerouted to an unverified warehouse. Okay, no, that's not normal. Shut down that node. I can't, it's linked to 3 others. Then isolate it. I'm trying. Bilal's screen flickered. For a split second, a hidden layer appeared. A set of instructions embedded deep inside the routing logic. He froze. Wait, what? I saw something. What did you see? Bilal's fingers moved quickly, trying to pull it back. But it was gone. It's hiding. What is? Bilal looked up. His voice dropped. Whoever's doing this. Silence. At 10:47 a.m., the system crossed a line. Not visible. But real. A financial shipment, high priority, insured, time-sensitive, redirected. Not delayed. Not duplicated. Redirected. To a destination that didn't exist in the company's database. Where is that going? Someone whispered. No one answered. Because no one knew. Aisha stepped forward again. Status. Tarek didn't look at her this time. It's escalating. How bad? He hesitated. Then said it. We might be losing control of the routing layer. That landed. Art. Aisha's voice lowered. Then regain it. Bilal stared at his screen. Heart pounding. Mind racing. And in the middle of all that noise, one sentence kept repeating. Don't restart anything. He looked at the system queue. It was overloaded now. Clogged. Slowing everything down. Standard procedure was obvious. Reset it. Clear it. Start fresh. He turned to Tariq. We're going to have to reset the queue. Tariq nodded slowly. Yeah. Bilal didn't move. What if that's what they want? Tariq frowned. What? Bilal swallowed. What if the reset is the trigger? Silence. Across the room, Aisha's voice cut through everything. Do it. Bilal closed his eyes for half a second, then opened them, and stared at the command line. His fingers hovered over the keyboard. And somewhere, deep inside the system, something waited. Patient. Ready. Do it. Aisha didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. Every engineer on the floor heard it. And more importantly, they felt it. Bilal's fingers hovered over the keyboard. The command line blinked. Waiting. We should think about this, he said barely above a whisper. Tariq leaned closer. Think about what? The system's choking. It might not be choking, Bilal replied. It might be held. Held? Tariq snapped. By what? Bilal didn't answer, because the truth sounded insane even in his own head. Aisha stepped closer. How long does it take to execute a reset? 2 seconds, Tariq said. Then why are we still talking? Silence. Bilal swallowed. Ma'am, before we do this, yes? There was a warning. Aisha's eyes narrowed slightly. From who? Bilal hesitated. Saad. A faint shift moved across the room. Uncomfortable. Unwelcome. And what exactly did he say? Aisha asked. Bilal forced the words out. He said, not to restart anything. A beat. Then, that's not a technical explanation, she said flatly. I know, but we are not going to paralyze operations based on the last comment of a terminated employee. That was it. Decision sealed. Execute the reset, she said. Bilal looked at the screen. Then at Tariq. Then back at the screen. Okay, he whispered. His fingers moved. Enter. For half a second, nothing happened. Then, everything did. The screens flickered. Not like a glitch. Like something had been released. Queue cleared, Tariq said quickly. Latency dropping, another engineer added. Route stabilizing. A brief wave of relief passed through the room. Someone even exhaled a quiet, finally. And then the first alarm went red. A loud, sharp tone cut through the air. Then another. Then 5 at once. Why are all clusters flagging? That's not possible. Bilal's screen exploded with activity. Not errors. Commands. No, he whispered. What? Tariq snapped. It wasn't congestion. Then what was it? Bilal's eyes widened. It was containment. The realization hit too late. Guys, something just activated, another engineer shouted. Activated what? I don't know. The routing map shifted. Violently. Paths that had been stable for years rewrote themselves in seconds. Stop it. Stop it. I'm trying. Kill the process. It's not responding. Aisha stepped forward. Explain what's happening. No one answered, because no one fully understood it yet. Then, Bilal spoke. Slow. Controlled. Terrified. We opened the door. What door? Aisha demanded. Bilal turned to her. The one he was holding shut. That landed. Art. At 11:02 a.m., the first confirmed breach occurred. A high-value shipment, redirected completely outside the verified network. Not delayed. Not duplicated. Gone. Track it. Tariq shouted. I can't. It's not in our system anymore. How is that even possible? Phones erupted again. Louder this time. Angrier. Where is my cargo? You people just rerouted $1 million shipment. This is a breach of contract. Fix this now. Voices overlapped. Shouted. Panicked. Disconnect external routes. We can't. It's embedded in the core layer. Then isolate the core. If we isolate the core, everything shuts down. Aisha's voice cut through. Do it? Tariq turned. If we shut down the core, we lose everything. And if we don't? He hesitated. We might already be losing it. Silence. For half a second. Then, find another way, she said. But there wasn't one. Bilal's hands moved frantically. Trying commands. Reversals. Overrides. Nothing held. It's rewriting faster than we can react, someone yelled. It's predicting our moves. That's not possible. It's happening. On the main screen, a new pattern emerged. Clear. Structured. Deliberate. Guys, Bilal said slowly. This isn't random. Tariq looked over. What do you mean? Bilal pointed. Look at the sequence. The reroutes weren't chaotic. They were organized. Targeted. High-value shipments. Sensitive cargo. Priority lanes. They're picking what matters most, Tarek said. Aisha's expression shifted. For the first time, not anger. Not control. Something else. Realization. This was planned, she said quietly. Bilal nodded. For a long time. At 11:17 a.m., the financial damage started. Duplicate shipments triggered duplicate charges. Missing shipments triggered penalty clauses. Delayed deliveries triggered automatic refunds. Numbers climbed. Fast. Estimate the loss. Aisha demanded. A finance analyst stammered. Initial projection, 5 million, and rising. The room went silent. 5 million. In minutes, and still climbing. Bilal's screen flashed again. This time he caught it. Wait, I see it. What? The entry point. Where? He zoomed in. It. Past layers no one usually touched. There's a relay node, hidden in the routing logic. Can you shut it down? No. Why not? Because it's tied to everything. Tarek cursed under his breath. Then what do we do? Bilal didn't answer immediately. Because the answer was obvious. And impossible. We need him. No one argued. At 11:26 a.m., the system crossed another line. A medical shipment, life-saving equipment, got rerouted mid-transit. Stop that, someone shouted. I'm trying. That's a hospital order. I know. The room felt smaller now. Hotter. Heavier. Aisha turned sharply. Call the CTO. He's in a board meeting, then interrupt it. Seconds later, the call connected. What's the situation? The CTO asked. Tarek didn't sugarcoat it. We've lost control of the routing layer. Pause. That's not possible. It is now. What triggered it? Another pause. No one spoke. Then Bilal said it. We reset the queue. Silence on the line. Longer this time. Who authorized that? The CTO asked. Aisha answered. I did. Another silence. Different now. Heavier. You need your systems engineer, the CTO said finally. The words hung there. Unavoidable. Aisha didn't respond immediately. Because for the first time since morning, there was no version of this where she was in control. At 11:39 a.m., another alarm. More shipments gone. How many? 7. 7? Phone screaming. Screens bleeding red. Voices overlapping. And in the middle of it, Bilal sat frozen for a second. Because suddenly he understood something. This wasn't just waiting, he said slowly. What? It was watching. Watching what? Bilal looked up. Us. The system hadn't just activated. It had adapted. Every command they tried, countered. Every attempt to isolate, redirected. It knows how we work, Tarek whispered. Because it had learned. Over time. Quietly. Exactly like Saad had said. At 11:47 a.m., the final threshold approached. Financial projection updated, the analyst said, voice shaking. How bad? Aisha asked. 12 million. Silence. And rising. Aisha closed her eyes for a brief second. Then opened them. Where is he? No one asked who she met. Bilal spoke quietly. We never called him. That hit harder than anything else. Because they could have. At any point. And they didn't. Aisha turned. Already moving? Get me his address. Behind her, the system kept unraveling. And on Bilal's screen, buried deep in the logs, a line flickered. A message. Left behind. Not code. Not an error. A warning. If the system resets, you won't have time to learn it. Bilal stared at it. Heart sinking. He knew, he whispered. And now, it was too late to pretend they didn't need him. Because the system wasn't breaking anymore. Was being taken. The drive felt longer than it should have. Not because of traffic. Not because of distance. Because for the first time that day, Aisha Rahman wasn't thinking about the system. She was thinking about a moment. A very small one. A man exhausted trying to speak. And her cutting him off. I don't need to hear anything. Her own voice echoed in her head. Clear. Sure. Certain. Now, it sounded different. The city moved around her. Cars passing, people walking, life continuing as if nothing had happened. But inside the car, everything had shifted. She tightened her grip on the steering wheel. Why didn't I just listen? She murmured. There was no answer. Her phone buzzed again. She didn't look at it immediately. It buzzed again. Then again. Finally, she tapped it on speaker. Yes. Aisha. Tarek's voice came through, strained. We've lost 3 more high-value routes. How much? Another 4 million projected. She closed her eyes briefly. Contain what you can. We're trying, but it's slipping faster now. I'm on my way to him. Pause. Good, Tarek said quietly. The call ended. For the first time that day, no one had argued with her. No one had pushed back. Because now, they were past authority. Past hierarchy. They were in survival. She pulled into a narrow street lined with old apartment buildings. Not corporate. Not polished. Just lived in. She checked the address again. Then stepped out. The air was quieter here. No alarms. No ringing phones. No flashing red screens. Just a normal afternoon. She walked up the stairs. Knocked. No answer. She knocked again. Harder. Still nothing. Her chest tightened. Come on. She knocked a third time. This time, a soft sound from inside. Footsteps. Light. Careful. The door opened slowly. A small girl stood there. Maybe 7. Hair slightly messy. Holding a pencil in one hand. A notebook tucked under her arm. She looked up at Aisha. Calm. Observant. Yes. Aisha blinked. She hadn't expected this. Hi, she said, her voice softer than it had been all day. Is Saad here? The girl tilted her head slightly. You mean my dad? That word landed differently. Dad. Aisha nodded. Yes. The girl opened the door a little wider. He's sleeping. Aisha glanced past her. Inside, a small living space. Simple. Clean. Lived in, and there on the couch, Saad. Still in the same shirt. One shoe off. The other still on. Laptop open beside him. Screen dimmed. He hadn't even made it to bed. A glass of water sat untouched on the table. A half-eaten sandwich nearby. The kind of details that didn't belong to someone who had just come home from a normal day. The girl stepped aside. You can come in, she said simply. Aisha hesitated for a second. Then stepped inside. The door clicked softly behind her. For a moment she just stood there, looking. This wasn't the man she had seen that morning. This was something else. Not careless. Not irresponsible. Exhausted. The girl walked over to the couch. He just got home, she said quietly. He said something was broken at work. Aisha swallowed. He said that. The girl nodded. He said he had to fix it first. Pause. He promised he'd rest after. That hit. Harder than anything in the office. Aisha stepped closer. Careful. Almost hesitant. Does he always work like this? She asked. The girl shrugged slightly. Sometimes. What about school? I do it here, she said, holding up her notebook. He helps me at night. Aisha looked at the notebook. Neat handwriting. Math problems. Corrected in a different pen. His pen. You live here, alone with him? The girl nodded. Mrs. Farah from next door comes sometimes. Aisha exhaled slowly. All the assumptions she had made that morning, all the certainty, collapsed. Quietly. Can I wake him? She asked. The girl looked at her for a moment. Studying. Are you from his work? Aisha didn't answer immediately, because the honest answer felt complicated. Yes, she said finally. The girl nodded once. Okay. But, don't be loud. Aisha almost smiled. She stepped closer to the couch. Saad, she said gently. No response. Saad. Still nothing. The girl leaned in slightly. Daddy, that did it? A small shift. A breath. Then, slowly he stirred. His eyes opened halfway. Unfocused. Heavy. He blinked. Looked around. Then saw her. And in that moment, recognition came. Not surprise. Not anger. Just tired understanding. You, he said quietly. Aisha sat down in the chair across from him. Not standing. Not towering. Just sitting. I didn't listen to you, she said. No build-up. No explanation. I made a decision without understanding what you were trying to say. He didn't respond immediately. He just looked at her. Not judging. Not forgiving. Just present. They reset the system, she continued. A flicker passed through his eyes. Small. But there. It's failing, she said. We're losing control of the routing layer. He closed his eyes briefly. Exhaled. Of course it is. No anger. No, I told you so. Just certainty. They don't understand your patch, she said. They wouldn't. They're trying to fix it. Pause. They can't, he said. The words weren't arrogant. They were factual. Aisha nodded. I know. Silence settled between them. Then, I'm sorry. Simple. Unprotected. He opened his eyes again. Looked at her. This time, there was something else there. Not softness. Not yet. But, consideration. You didn't want to hear it, he said. No, she admitted. You saw something, he continued, and decided what it meant. Yes. Pause. I've seen that before, he said quietly. That landed. Not as an accusation. As truth. She nodded slowly. I thought I was fixing a problem. And instead, he asked. I removed the person holding it together. Silence again. In the background, the girl sat quietly at the table. Watching. Listening. Understanding more than she should have to. Aisha glanced at her. Then back at him. We need you, she said. He didn't respond immediately. Instead, he looked at his daughter. Did you eat? He asked her softly. She nodded, yes. Homework done. Yes. Mrs. Farah coming? She said she will. He nodded once. Something passed between them. Unspoken. Then he looked back at Aisha. If I come back, he said, it's not for the job. I understand. It's not for the apology. I understand. It's because people out there depend on that system. I know. Pause. And they didn't do anything wrong. That one hit deeper. Aisha nodded again. You're right. He leaned back slightly. Closed his eyes for a second. His body clearly didn't want to move, but his mind already had. How bad is it? He asked. 12 million, she said. And rising. He let out a slow breath. All right. He stood up. Slowly. The room felt different now. Not urgent. Not chaotic. Just grounded. He walked to the small table. Picked up his laptop. Opened it. The screen lit up. Metrics loaded. He scanned them. Quick. Focused. Then he stopped. They reset everything, he murmured. Yes. And they tried to fix it after. Yes. He nodded once. That made it worse. Aisha didn't argue. Because she knew. He closed the laptop halfway. Then looked at her. I need 20 minutes in the car, he said. For what? To think. Pause. Can you give me that? Yes. He nodded. Then turned to his daughter. I'll be back tonight, he said softly. She looked up at him. Okay. No drama. No fear. Just trust. He reached out. Adjusted her hair gently. Lock the door after Mrs. Farah comes. I will. Don't open it for anyone else. She smiled slightly. I know. He almost smiled back. Then he picked up his jacket. Walked to the door. Paused. Looked back once. At her. At this space. Then stepped out. Aisha followed. The door closed behind them. And for the first time that day, everything felt quiet. Not fixed. Not safe. But possible. They got into the car. And drove. In silence. Because some decisions didn't need more words. They just needed to be made. And somewhere behind them, a small girl sat at a table. Finishing her homework. Waiting. Not worried. Because she knew something simple. Her father always came back. And this time he wasn't going back alone. When they walked back into the operations floor, no one announced it. No one needed to. The room felt it. Conversation stopped mid-sentence. Chairs shifted. Eyes lifted. He's back, someone whispered. Saad didn't look around. Didn't acknowledge the stares. Didn't slow down. He walked straight to the central console. The same one. The one he had been removed from that morning. Someone quietly stood up and moved aside. No words. Just space made. Saad sat down. Placed his laptop beside the main system. Plugged it in. Opened both screens. Give me full access, he said. Tariq was already moving. You've got it. Logs. Streaming. System state summary. Tariq took a breath. Routing layer compromised. Multiple external redirects. Latency unstable. Duplicate transactions. We tried isolating nodes but, Saad raised a hand slightly. Stop. Silence. He looked at the screen. Just looked. 10 seconds. 15. No typing. No panic. Then, okay. That was it. Just, okay. But something shifted. Bilal, he said. Bilal straightened instantly. Yeah. Pull up deep relay logs. Layer 4 and below. Bilal blinked. We don't usually, I know. Bilal nodded quickly. Got it? Tariq. Yeah. Stop trying to block the routes. What? Why? Because you're pushing it to adapt faster. Tarek froze. So what do we do? Saad's fingers finally moved. Come. Precise. We guide it. Pause. Guide it where? Tarek asked. Saad glanced at him. To where it thinks it wants to go. Confusion. Then realization. A trap, Bilal whispered. Saad didn't smile. But he nodded once. Exactly. The room leaned in. Listen carefully, Saad said. We don't fight this head-on. We isolate behavior. We redirect it into a controlled loop. Like a sandbox? Someone asked. Not a sandbox, Saad replied. A mirror. Difference. In a sandbox, it knows it's contained. A beat. In a mirror, it doesn't. Silence. Then, okay, how do we build that? Tarek asked. Saad started typing. Fast now. Bilal, duplicate the routing pathways, but only the compromised ones. Won't that double the problem? Only if you don't control the exit points. Bilal swallowed. Which we don't. We will. Another pause. On my signal, Saad continued, you reroute everything flagged into that mirror layer. And then we close the door behind it. The simplicity of it, terrifying. All right, Tarek said. Let's do it. Across the room, phones were still ringing. Clients still shouting. Numbers still climbing. But here, at this desk, everything narrowed into focus. Mirror layer ready, Bilal said after a minute. Good, Saad replied. He scanned the system one more time. Wait for it. What are we waiting for? Tarek asked. Saad didn't answer, because he was watching something no one else saw. A pattern. A rhythm. Then, there. Now. Bilal hit the command. The system shifted. Not violently this time. Smooth. Controlled. Traffic redirecting. Hold steady. It's following. Good, Saad said quietly. Keep it moving. Seconds stretched. Then, it's all inside the mirror, Bilal said. Saad nodded. Close it. Tarek executed the command. And just like that, the external pathways went dark. Gone. Silence. Real silence. No alarms. No spikes. Just steady system flow. Is that it? Someone whispered. Saad didn't answer immediately. He ran one more check. Then another. Then one more. Finally, yeah. A breath left the room. Collective. Heavy. It's contained, Tarek said almost in disbelief. Saad leaned back slightly. Before moving forward to our story, please subscribe our channel. Your support means a world to us. Now to our story. Now we clean it. Over the next hour, they did. Carefully. Methodically. No rushing. No guessing. Every compromised pathway removed. Every vulnerability closed. At 2:14 p.m., the system stabilized fully. No red. No alerts. Just green. For the first time that day, everything worked. No one cheered. They were too tired for that. But the relief was real. Aisha stood at the edge of the room. Watching. Not as a CEO. Just watching. When Saad finally stood up, the room shifted again. Different this time. Not urgency. Not fear. Respect. Quiet. Unspoken. He turned. Saw her. Walked over. Up close. He looked even more exhausted. But steady. It's done, he said. Thank you, she replied. Pause. I owe you, he shook his head slightly. You owe the system better structure, he said. Not harsh. Not soft. Just clear. She nodded. You're right. Another pause. I'd like you to stay, she said. He didn't respond immediately. Because this time, it wasn't about reacting. It was about choosing. Not like before, she added quickly. Not as just another engineer. He looked at her. What does that mean? It means, she said carefully, you'd have authority to fix what needs fixing. To make sure this doesn't happen again. A long silence. Then, and the next person? He asked. What about them? They don't get fired for trying to warn you. That landed. She nodded slowly. They won't. Another pause. And no one works 48 hours straight without backup, he added. Agreed. And escalation doesn't stop at middle management. Agreed. He studied her for a moment. Not testing, not doubting. Just making sure. Then, okay. Simple. No handshake. No dramatic moment. Just agreement. Later that evening, the building was quieter. Most people had gone home. The crisis had passed. Not forgotten. But passed. In the lobby, Saad crouched slightly, adjusting the strap on a small backpack. So you didn't eat lunch again? A small voice said. He looked up. Smiled faintly. I got busy. That's not a good excuse, his daughter replied seriously. He chuckled softly. You sound like me. I am like you, she said proudly. Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. She grinned. Then, you're not sleeping at work again, right? He paused. Then shook his head. No, promise? Promise. She nodded, satisfied. From across the lobby, Aisha watched. Not interrupting. Not stepping in. Just observing. After a moment, she walked over. Not as a CEO. Just a person. She held something small in her hand. A stuffed toy. Hey, she said gently. The girl looked up. Eyes lighting up instantly. My rabbit. She grabbed it, hugging it tightly. You left it in the car earlier, Aisha said. Thank you, she said, smiling wide. Aisha smiled back. Then glanced at Saad. No tension. No awkwardness. Just understanding. Good night, she said. Good night, he replied. No more words needed. They walked out together. Hand in hand. Into the evening. And for the first time that day, nothing was urgent. Nothing was breaking. Nothing needed fixing. Just a quiet street. A small laugh. A tired father. And a little girl, who knew, no matter what happened, he always came back. Thanks for watching.